Ember is a young fire girl who lives in Element City. And when you first meet her, she is working hard. She's got one thing in mind, and it is to take over her parents' shop. She's very passionate, she's very loyal, quite defensive, but she's also really beautiful.
Wade is the most compassionate, warm, open-hearted character I've ever played. He's my favorite. He meets Ember by getting sucked into her parents' fire shop, more like a bodega, fire bodega.
Yes, it is a fire bodega.
You're right. And then
Bodega.
and he sees this beautiful portrait of her family, or a picture of her family, and he's just so moved by it. But he has to, he has to do his job. He's a city inspector, and chase ensues.
So Element City is the big city that houses air, earth, water, and fire actually lives on the side of Element City. But it's this gorgeous, gorgeous metropolis of, I mean, a lot of water characters. I feel like it's built heavily with water people in mind, but you see water people kind of like sliding out of boats. You see earth people kind of like living in trees. Like each element, and the air people are just flying around like living in their clouds.
They do whatever they want.
They literally do whatever they want. They're air. They can just go through things, go above things. Yeah. But you see all these characters living in such a gorgeous, gorgeous world. I mean, elements in general are so colorful, and it definitely is mirrored in this world too. It's a visual shock, really.
They're afraid of each other. I mean, by the function of their bodies, they're worried that the other might extinguish the other, and it's a real danger. But they see something in one another. They see who they are, and they see past that, and they take a chance on each other. Brooke Ripple is played by Catherine O'Hara, one of the best actors in the world. She is also Wade's mother, and the most supportive, loving mother. She reminds me a lot of my mom. She's very just wonderfully open and warm and inviting to everyone that Wade loves. She loves because by virtue of extension. So it's this really beautiful relationship that they have, and he's definitely a mama's boy.
So Ember's relationship with her father, Bernie, who is played by the amazing Ronnie Del Carmen, he brings such a paternal aspect to this as well, him also being a father. But they're very, very close. And from early on in the film, you see so much bonding. As Bernie and Cinder, her parents, came over from Fireland to start this shop in Element City, I mean, the shop has always been a part of Ember's childhood, teenhood, and adulthood. And her hope is that eventually she can kind of learn to quell that explosive nature of hers and work at the shop and be chill enough to handle customers. She just wants to make her parents proud in the very end. I relate to Ember in a multitude of ways. I think as she is, learning to find herself in this film, I am definitely learning to find myself every single day when I meet different elements or people in my life. And I have a very fiery nature. It's very passionate, very headstrong. And she's also a very, very loyal character. Like, she would go to the ends of the earth to protect the things that she cares about. But she has a lot to learn, and I also think I really relate to her in that way as well, and how close she is to her family. I am very, very close to my family, and I feel like, in a non-expectant way, I owe them everything that I've achieved in my life, and I wouldn't be here without them. And especially my parents, who have sacrificed so much for, me following this creative path. Very similarly, I feel very strongly in the way that Ember does about her parents, about my parents as well.
Wade, what do I have in common with Wade? I don't know. He represents the best of me. What I would like to be like a lot of the time. I think he sees the best in people and tries to bring it out of them. I certainly try to do that, but I found myself to be sometimes cynical about people. And this movie has helped me remind me, like, hey, let's have a little bit more grace for people, or people around me, or people that I don't know, and people that are acting crazy, and like, well, let me just try and be a little bit more open-minded. That's one of my favorite things about Wade. He's just such a generous spirit.
So the look of this film on the big screen is unlike anything I've ever seen before. The animators use this thing called anthropomorphic animation, where these characters are quite literally walking special effects. And it's just so real. I mean, when you look at a fire, you look at water, somehow these animators have created that in a film, but through cartoons and animation, and everything just looks so lifelike. But Element City in general, you know, we've got red for fire, we've got green for earth, lilac, lavender for the clouds, and then these deep blues for the water. And it's a color explosion. It's so crisp, it's so clear, and the details that all the animators and Peter and Denise have infused into this film, it definitely, I think anyone can spot those little details if they're looking for it as well, and nothing is by mistake. It's a very grand scale thing that you definitely have to go and see at theaters because of those little details that you might miss on a tiny screen.
This movie, okay, well, I think people should see this movie because there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. Especially, I mean, I watch a lot of TV, watch a lot of movies in the theater as well. But I've been dying for something that is completely devoid of cynicism, that just feels pure, like really pure. And the thing that you can count on of Pixar is that they'll make you laugh and cry, and it's with such breathtaking detail, and literally brand new technology, unlike anything we've ever seen before. Mm-hmm. Not to mention Pete Sohn and Denise Ream, but it starts with Pete, who spent 7 years putting his heart and soul, and all these animators here at Pixar, the team at Pixar, we as well, the cast as well, everybody that's been involved in this has had the same single-minded mission, is to do our best possible work in this movie. Mm-hmm. So when we watch this movie, I've seen it 5 times now. I've never seen anything I've been in 5 times now. I'm going to see it again. I'm going to see it in London. I'm going to see it in 3D. Mm-hmm. I'm going to see it all. I'm going to celebrate this movie because it means so much to me. Because you can feel the love off the screen. You can feel everything. It feels very passionate and alive in a way that I've never experienced before. So I think you got to see it in theaters to get that full effect.